This is not just about one Teochew movie. It is about whether Singapore audiences should hear a story in the language it was actually filmed in. Workers' Party MP Kenneth Tiong has asked the government to review a guideline that requires Chinese films for general cinema release to be in Mandarin. His question is expected to be addressed at the Parliament sitting on July 7th. The issue came after the film Dialect was dubbed into Mandarin for its local general release. The film is about the Nanyang migrant generation and was shot almost entirely in Teochew. That is why this debate feels bigger than a normal cinema rule. Because when a film built around dialect is dubbed over, something changes. The plot may remain the same, but the texture, memory, family feeling, and cultural identity may not. Kenneth Tiong's argument is that dialect films should be allowed to screen in their original language with subtitles. He also questioned whether the old reason behind the guideline still makes sense today. The guideline is linked to the Speak Mandarin campaign. That campaign was created to encourage Chinese Singaporeans to use Mandarin instead of dialects. But Mr. Tiong pointed out that dialect use at home has already fallen below 12%. In his view, this suggests the campaign has already achieved much of what it set out to do. Here's where the issue gets interesting. This is not really a fight between Mandarin and dialect. It is a question of whether cultural protection can now sit beside language policy. For decades, Singapore pushed hard for common languages that helped with education, communication, and national development. But younger Singaporeans today may already be less fluent in dialect than their grandparents. So the concern is no longer only about dialect replacing Mandarin. The concern may now be that dialect stories disappear before people realize what was lost. Mr. Tiong also pushed back against the idea that one subtitled Teochew film would weaken Mandarin. He joked that after watching 25 years of subtitled Japanese anime, he still cannot form a Japanese sentence. That line works because it makes a simple point. Watching a film in another language does not automatically change what language people use every day. For viewers, the real impact is personal. Many Singaporean families still have grandparents who speak Hokkien, Teochew, Cantonese, Hakka, Hainanese, Foochow, Honghua, or other dialects. For them, dialect is not just sound. It is how memories, jokes, scoldings, food stories, and family history were passed down. If every dialect film has to be dubbed into Mandarin for general release, some audiences may feel that their own community stories are being filtered before they can reach the big screen. At the same time, the government's original concern should not be dismissed too quickly. Language policy in Singapore has always been sensitive. It affects schools, families, media, and social cohesion. A sudden policy shift can raise questions about consistency, especially when past campaigns were built around clear language goals. But allowing original dialect audio with subtitles does not have to mean abandoning Mandarin. It can be seen as a limited cultural exception, especially for films where dialect is part of the story itself. IMDA has already shown some flexibility, with more original Teochew screenings of Dialect added until June 29th. But Mr. Tiong says the bigger question is whether the guideline itself should remain. That is the part to watch, because this could decide whether future films in Hokkien, Cantonese, Hakka, Hainanese, Foochow, Honghua, and other dialects can be shown as they were made. The sharp point is this. A language policy built for one era may not always fit the cultural needs of another. Singapore once had to protect Mandarin from being crowded out by dialects. Today, it may also need to protect dialect heritage from fading too quietly. So what do you think? Should dialect films in Singapore cinemas be allowed in their original language with subtitles, or should Mandarin remain the standard for general release? Like, share, and subscribe to 2230.